Hello everyone, welcome back. And thank you for joining me today. Just trying to figure out where I want to start here. I guess that will do. Oh, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna reset. There. Yeah. Take all my needles off and just start over. There we go. Alrighty. These colors are so similar. The grid is especially helpful for my counting. Okay. Yeah, back to more confetti. I think this is the most confetti heavy piece I've ever done. Yeah, the one I did, the four ladies in kimonos, had a fair amount, but this, in some places, but this pattern has been pretty unrelenting. Almost all of it is confetti heavy. But I guess that's also why the detail is so good. It will be worth it in the end. Okay. Right, so that one that I've parked is gonna go over to the right. Yeah, and I'll start a new one for this path. It's quite a lot there, so I think I'll start a full-length piece and not use up one of my leftover bits. Oh, whoops. It's in the wrong setting. Needed to change it to markup mode. All right, I think this piece is only long enough for these three here. Yeah. Maybe not. I think, yeah, I can get a couple more, so why not? There we go. Oh dear. Yeah, look at that. One strand came out. That's no good. And this time I remembered to put my scissors in easy reach. Okay. Since those aren't threaded, I think I'm just gonna, yeah, put them aside for the next diagonal. Deal with them later. Oops, meant to do that one. Yeah, with all the confetti on this piece, I actually started a second piece, which I almost never do, but that second piece, the first like 2 pages, is almost all one color. So yeah, I've been rotating those depending how much brain energy I got. I'm tired, but I still want to stitch, but I don't really want to have to pay that much attention to what I'm doing. I swap to my other piece. It's a Heaven and Earth Designs that time. It's called Marvelous Garden, and it's got 2 gorgeous peacocks in it. But the top left corner, where I always start, is sky. So there's not much going on there. Just a lot of mindless stitching. I was thinking that that piece would have a lot of confetti on it, given the detail on the peacocks and the flowers around them, but it actually seems to be less than this piece I'm currently working on, so that may go a bit quicker. That's part of the reason this project is taking me quite a while. But that's okay. The process is what I enjoy. Just deciding what I want to do with what thread, depending on the pattern. Yeah, so I've been knitting more because of the Olympics, and I guess I started to get my muscles back. uh, they weren't, my arms weren't sore after watching, so yeah, I was quite out of shape. I hadn't knit in so long. Oh, I go through phases. I started cross-stitching when I was 12. A friend gave me one of the little kits you can buy, you know, like at Walmart, the Dimensions kits. And I had never thought of it before, but once I tried that, I was hooked. So, don't think I even have that piece anymore. But yeah, that's what got me hooked. And then I spent years doing that. And then I started doing knitting because I wanted to try making my own sweaters. So I got into that really heavily for like a decade. And then now I'm back into the cross stitch. Although I do still knit. I find the knitting is more portable, much easier to take with you and knit at the doctor's office or in the car while my husband drives. Obviously not while I'm driving. But then, of course, haven't been really going many places. So that's why I haven't been knitting as much. I just haven't gone places where I've needed to bring something with me so often. Oh, did I? Yes, I parked this. Yeah, I parked this number 6 one stitch over from what it should have been. Yeah. That happens sometimes because I was about to park this and realized there's already a thread there. They can't both belong in the same spot. There we go. Better. Okay, so I've got a few of this color parked. Let's see. So long piece. Decent length. Trying to pull the thread and not my grid line up. Oh, they're actually all pretty decent lengths. Okay. I've got an abundance of riches then, right? No problem. Yeah, I was pretty sure that was a really short piece. The correct thread or not? No, I was not. Yeah, I was one big square down. Gotta watch for that. Cause myself a real problem if I'm not paying attention. Okay, right on the line, so tuck it away. Ooh. think this one may be done. Yeah, that's pretty short, so I'm going to end it off. Okay. Yeah, so I have my center mark coming up. Although I'm already past 50% because, of course, as I'm doing it diagonally, that kind of changes things a bit than if I were doing it like in columns or rows. But it's nice how the Pattern Keeper app does all that calculating for you. Yeah, and that little red dot, that center mark, can be toggled on or off, depending on if you want it to show up or not. Yeah, it was added in a later update because a lot of people really liked having that center arrows from paper patterns because a lot of people start from the center. I was always taught to do it that way. But now that I grid, I don't have to. I will know that I won't run out of fabric. Yeah, I actually did one. It was a kit years ago. And they actually had the pattern printed. Half of it was on one side of the paper and half of it was on the other side. And so I ended up sort of doing it in quadrants where I did the upper right, and then I flipped it over and did the bottom right, and then I did the bottom left, and then the top left at the end. So I kind of did it almost like a pinwheel or something. Yeah. So I did some of it upside down. As long as the top leg of your crosses are going the same way, it won't matter. I know there's some people who like to stitch sideways. They lock the rotation on their tablet and turn it sideways, and then turn the work sideways to match, depending on how it fits in your frame. It can be more convenient to do it that way, especially if you're using scroll rods. Oh, do you know what? I think, did I do the right one? Or did, oh, I should have done 2 there. I was looking at the wrong one. Yep, that was silly. Yeah, that's what I did. I did this one, didn't I? Okay, well, you know what then? That's okay, because I'm planning to carry a thread down sort of towards the left, so I'll just start a new one. Yeah, oh, I never claimed to be perfect. Definitely not. That's what I did. So, start it there. That one I should have done. And just carry on from there. I just realized. Yeah. I actually did have another 6 there. My gosh. Can you guys tell that I quit coffee? Oh well. It wasn't marked on my pattern. I did not realize I had one parked there. Oh well. Not disastrous. That's a shorter piece anyway, so no big deal. Okay, so down to the left again and back up as per usual. Trying not to leave any gaps. Oh, thirsty. Okay, back to this N color. There, got ya. Not today. knot. There we go. Just had one of the ends poking up to the right side. Don't want that. Just gonna kind of move these over so they're not all on the same magnet. Hopefully keep them from tangling. Oh. There we go. Okay. Up a bit. I should not have spoken of trying to avoid tangling because I jinxed myself. Always goes worse when you're trying to show someone, right? When someone's watching you. I saw a meme and it shows a bear trying to catch a fish, and it says when you're trying to do something you know how to do and someone's watching you and the fish has smacked him right in the face instead of going in his mouth. Yeah, I could relate to that. Come on. There, that Fluffy was being stubborn. upper right. So I'm going to go from bottom to top. Yeah, so I ended up with probably more threads than necessary because of that screw up earlier. Or I didn't realize I had one already, but oh well. We'll just end off the extra. And another one done for this diagonal. Oh, oh, what did I do? My gosh. I still missed one. My goodness me. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Hi. I cannot count today. Ugh, even with gridding, I don't have to count that much, but yeah. Apparently some days I can't even count to 10. Oh dear. I think we fixed it. I'm almost afraid to say that and jinx myself again. Oh my gosh. But yeah, counting from the grid lines, this is in the correct spot, so we should be good. Yeah, I think we're getting back into the trees here on the right. Trees and then pillars. And then we'll have reached the edge and be ready to start another pass. Woohoo. Ooh. I'm gonna leave those. Do them in the next diagonal. There we go. So yeah, I think this will be one to end off. Yeah, there's just so many here. I don't need more. That's what I get for not marking my parking. Oh, no problem. interesting. You can kind of tell by the way the colors are on the pattern when you're doing the artificial structures like the fountain or the wall, the pillars, compared to the trees. You get much sharper, straighter lines when you're doing the artificially created stuff. There, I want to park it, not mark it. One of the YouTubers I follow, he's a piano player who arranges music, and he does a lot of covers of video game themes. And he uploaded one from The Legend of Zelda: The Majora's Mask, the Stone Tower Temple. And yeah, it's been stuck in my head. Such a catchy tune. And he did a really neat job of arranging it. In the game, that dungeon has you can flip it over, and so he actually had it where usually the notes are coming down towards, you can see them coming down towards the keys, and then when he did the flipped theme, he had them rising up from the keyboard instead. It was really cool. The geek in me really enjoyed that little touch. Yeah, that was a theme I didn't mind getting stuck in my head after gaming. It's so catchy. Speaking of themes, it's funny, I was saying to one of my friends the other day, I kind of miss TV shows don't seem to have theme songs very much anymore. Unless they're streaming shows, they don't have a credits in the theme because they want to squeeze in one more ad per show. Guess I'm showing my age. I was kind of nostalgic. A lot of TV shows just don't have them anymore. Or if they used to, they quit. Like I remember, guess I'll be dating myself here, but ER had a theme, and that went on for like 15 seasons, and by the time it got to the end, they no longer played the theme music anymore because they wanted to squeeze one more ad in there. Kind of missed it. So I really love the Westworld theme. That one's beautiful. that's HBO, right? They don't have to worry about ads. It's a subscription. So I've noticed, yeah, the streaming shows, the ones that are not on cable or satellite or whatever, they often have themes, like the Netflix shows and stuff. I liked the theme to The Crown. It was catchy too, because of course that's a Netflix show, not a cable show. Do they still call it cable? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There was just something about, you hear the theme and immediately it hits your emotions. Maybe gives you some nostalgia. Boy, I sound older, don't I? Back in my day. Okay, so I have 2 threads, one coming from either direction. And I think they're both a decent length. Okay, that one is shorter. Okay, good to know. A newer show that actually did have a theme, and it was a cable show because it was on, I believe it was on NBC, was, oh goodness, what was it called now? It was a sci-fi show. Debris, that was it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was sad they canceled it after 1 season. But the theme was really haunting and pretty. Yeah, it's sad. I find that sci-fi shows, they don't give them as much of a chance to gain an audience the way they used to, which is a shame. Honestly, they don't really give any shows a chance the way they used to. I mean, I remember there's an episode in the 2nd season of MASH, which was about there being a ceasefire because they thought maybe they were going to get canceled. So they wrote an ending, and then, of course, it turns out to be a false alarm. But, I mean, that show almost got canceled for low ratings in its first 2 to 3 seasons. And, I mean, it ended up being the only show that ever aired opposite the Super Bowl and won with their finale. So what they would have missed out on if they hadn't given it just a little longer to gain some traction with and gain some fans. Yeah, I have that whole show on DVD. I finally introduced it to my teenager last summer. Yeah, but everybody's impatient, hey? They want everything to be a smash hit instantly. There was another one a few years ago. I think it was also NBC. And it was called Time After Time. And it was about time traveler and H.G. Wells helping to track down Jack the Ripper, who has also jumped through time. And yeah, I was really quite enjoying it, and they only gave it maybe 3-4 episodes before they canceled it. Like, they didn't really give it a chance. I find that network, they really like their procedural shows, Law and Order and Chicago Med, Chicago PD. The kind of shows where you can swap the characters out and the basic premise is still the same, right? Solve this crime or whatever, solve this problem. Yeah, they really like those. And I mean, I like them too, but I do like some scripted dramas or some sci-fis that might last a little longer. Those seem to be harder to find, at least on major networks. Okay, make sure I counted that correctly. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, okay. Yeah, speaking of feeling older, I'm now at the age where all the songs I grew up with are now showing up as ads. They had Whoop, There It Is, as Scoop, There It Is. Oh, goodness. That song was at every school dance when I was in elementary school, so geez, I was feeling my age that day. And then the Backstreet Boys, which were popular when I was in high school. Their one of their songs was a grocery chain ad. Oh. I had a discussion on Facebook saying, you know, how old does a song have to be before you consider it an oldie? I said, anything before I was born is an oldie, nothing after, and I will accept no other answers at this time. Yeah, it's quite a shock when you hear a song and think, hey, I remember when this came out, I was 14, and then the DJ says, that was the retro flashback. Like, oh dear. Ugh. Or all the songs that you grew up with are all getting remade, covered by other artists. Okay, yeah, I should have just enough here to do these 6 up in this edge. Perfect. Just enough. And not half a stitch more, I think. Oh yeah, that was definitely a game of thread chicken, but I won, so excellent. Well, I guess there was a mix of confetti and some bigger sections of colors, so got a bit more done today than I thought, which is always nice. Okay, make sure again that I am in the right spot. Yeah, just counting my big squares to make sure I am in the right place. All right, I'm gonna carry this back up to here. Okay, so a couple more and then I think we will call this a day. Oh, this is a long, long piece. Okay, which means I'm going to take a look at, that is 2, okay. To see where I'm going to carry this, okay, I know where I'm going to carry it then. Okay, again, I've got threads part sort of on either end of this. Okay. Oop. There we go. A minute there, I didn't think. Oh yeah, this is again, we have so many that I'm going to end one of these off. Oh. I split the fabric and didn't go down in the correct area. That's no good. Oh, one time I accidentally pulled the thread up and I crossed over 2 instead of 1, and I didn't find it till days later. Oh boy, that was a nightmare to fix, and the perfectionist in me would not allow me to leave it there. So yeah, there was cutting and unraveling and trying to make sure I don't cut the wrong threads, and ugh. But in the end, we persevered, so it's a success story in the end, right? Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. All right. Bye.